Probably easier. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Thanks to the Temple for putting us on. Rhoda, thanks for getting us all here tonight. And thank you. Sorry that my address was wrong and we got the notice a little late, but I was able to move some things around to be here tonight to talk to you and to all of you. And I am very respectful of both my opponents for putting their names forth and putting it on the ballot. Before I reintroduce myself to you, I need to point out a couple of things that my opponent said that just are inaccurate. I heard my opponent indicate that we're going to spend 58% less in local aid this fiscal year than we did in fiscal year 2007, and it's just wrong. It's just false. Let me just read to you from the numbers that I have here. Fiscal 2007, total local aid funding, $4,804,066,311. Fiscal year 2011, this excludes federal stimulus funding, $4,749,864,748, for a total reduction of 1.13%. Those are just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's very important that we set the facts right. This is a silly season of campaigning, I understand that, but it's important not to be reckless with the facts. And then I've also worried about this 8 tax increases. Well, let me just be clear what those are, because I've been hearing that a lot. First of all, the majority of them were, a couple of them were to extend and allow communities the ability to raise your meals or your hotel tax. If that works for you. We didn't raise it. We just said to local communities, you decide. We also decided that corporations should live under the same tax rules that you and I live under. So we decided to close the loophole that allowed them to ship some of their assets offshore and avoid taxes that you and I pay. Then we decided, you know what? It's been 100 years and the telecom companies don't have to pay property taxes on the telephone poles in town. Guess what? If you own the property tax, you'd pay the tax. If you own the telephone pole, you'd pay the tax. So we removed that particular exemption. We also, there was a vote, came over from the Senate to raise the alcohol tax. Okay? It was in the final budget. I voted for it. That raises $100 million a year. 44 other states have a sales tax. All of them apply the sales tax to alcohol. We were the only one that didn't. We removed that exemption. That program now, people say, well, we're losing money to New Hampshire on that. Alcohol sales in Massachusetts are up 4% last year. And then we did, in the worst economy in living memory, we raised the sales tax from 5% to 6.25. I voted for it. Let me tell you what was in front of us. Before we did that, we cut $4.3 billion out of the $30 billion budget. We cut 3,000 state jobs. What was in front of us was total elimination of all boat service to the South Shore, elimination of weekend train service because of the MBTA debt, significant cut to local aid. So at that time, which raised $900 million, we dedicated $180 million of that to our transportation system so that we wouldn't have the doubling of the tolls and fares and the cuts in the services. We also dedicated 25% of that to local aid. Did I like it? No. Was it the right vote? Yes. It was the worst, and it is the worst economy we have. But what did that allow us to do? That allowed us to do just what I said, but also to do on-time and disciplined budgets, which have been rewarded by the rating agencies with AA bond ratings, which saves you and me millions of dollars every year in interest payments. Now, you don't hear that, but those are the facts. And I want to make sure you have them in this election season, and you can judge me accordingly. Now, all I just told you relative to the fiscal crisis has been difficult. But I have been, and I believe, an effective independent leader for this district. Now, on taxes, other than the ones I just mentioned to you, I have voted against the largest tax package in the history of the Commonwealth in the last recession in 2002-2003. I didn't think it through. I didn't think we were in a deep enough recession, and I think I was proven right. Now, only 5 other Democrats joined me in doing that out of a 160-person legislature. 5. I voted against raising your income tax. I voted against raising your gas tax. I voted to reduce the corporate tax rate, which has saved 35,000 companies $56 million. I also voted to reduce the capital gains tax on investments made in companies here in Massachusetts. I've been independent. Again, 6 Democrats stood up to the Speaker of the House at that time and said, no, we're not going to vote for this tax package. We don't think this is a deep enough recession. We need to make votes. Then move forward, I'm vice chair of judiciary, and we have Melanie's law, which is our strong new drunk driving law. I was vice chair at the time. I went against my chairman, against the speaker, and said, you know what, there were some stronger provisions. I'm going to stand with Frank Hines from Situate, and I'm going to stand with the family of the South Shore. And we passed those, except for one on the floor, against those odds. Then you jump forward when Speaker DeMacy was trying to kill the governor's casino bill. There's only one legislative chairman who decided, you know what, they're going to stick with their original support for casinos and not change because the speaker told them to. You know who that was? Me. And how about this last session, when the holiday is known as Evacuation Day and Bunker Hill Day, or Suffolk County Women Holidays? I voted with the minority party to eliminate them, because you and I go to work on those days. And let me talk to you a little bit about job growth. First in the nation in job creation, with 65,000 jobs created in the last year. First in the nation. And that didn't happen by accident. It's because we invested in biotech, life science, film tax credits. Powderhouse Productions, a company here in Massachusetts, tripled its workforce with those film tax credits. Take a look at the Cohasset Mail on the front page. New independent film being filmed down here. Host of people coming in, going to the local businesses. It's good for businesses. We also decided that we're going to make some changes to small business health insurance so that companies can reinvest that savings. So we decided, you know what? On small business health insurance, we're going to, it goes into effect in January, we're going to make it so that there's going to be a 10% reduction because we're going to pool together, allow you to pool together small businesses, which accounts 85% of businesses in Massachusetts. Then we on healthcare. I don't think it's right that if somebody else goes to the hospital and doesn't have insurance, that you and I have to pay for it. So we expanded healthcare coverage, and now 98% of our citizens have health insurance. I also thought it was a good idea, even in the worst of times, to invest in education. That's why we're first in the nation in education, first in the nation in our standards. Now locally, we created a trust fund with the governor's support and Senator Headland's support that now dedicates revenue back to the community for the first time in 100 years. First time. You also said to me, you know what, Garrett? Those buildings that GCR have are not being utilized. You know, let us do something on the local level. And we did that. We finally, for the first time, passed a law that says those buildings can be reutilized. Now, moving forward, I'm not going to be happy until everybody out there that wants a job can find a job. When we had 5% unemployment, right, we had 21 billion in revenue. At 10%, we had 18. So job creation is the key. We're going to need to continue to focus on healthcare. Local communities have to have more options to deal with municipal employees' health insurance. We allowed some communities to go into the GIC. Those that went in saved $50 million. There's going to be several proposals, and all or some of them have to happen. We also need to continue to focus on education, maximizing our dollars while maximizing our standards as well. And that's going to happen and be decided in the next session. I want to continue to be responsive to you locally here. I return every email, every phone call, every letter that I get. And I think that's one of the most important part of the jobs. And I want to continue to do that. And I want to continue to work with you here locally. You know, we got $450,000 in authorization to fix Jacob Meadows in Cohasset. We need to do that. We got a grant for $750,000 for 225 new jobs at the South Shore Hospital Bone and Muscle Center in Hingham. They're coming here now. They're building that now. We passed legislation that created the Derby Street shops and the Hingham Shipyard. But the Hingham Shipyard is just starting to come to life. We need to support that. Millions of dollars have come back here in grants, your tax dollars back to your community because of my advocacy, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I want to make sure that we redevelop that GCR property correctly. I want to make sure that any other issues that you have, you know that you have a receptive voice. Now, I know this campaign has been long. It will be long over the next 2.5 weeks. But I want you to know if I'm successful and you send me back, I don't just represent the people who helped me. I represent everybody here, Republican, Democrat, and Independent. And I think the biggest problem in this country right now is the inability of the parties to sit and talk. And I think that's the problem in Washington. They can't sit and talk things up. So I want to make sure that you know my door is always open, whether you support me or you don't, whether you vote for me or you don't. But I respectfully ask for your consideration on November 2nd, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight. Thank you.